Yeah, they're a ton of fun. It's WD-40 time on
I
that
was
door.
like, I was like, that's a pretty creepy door right
Nice
there.
sound effect.
That was great, KB.
Joining me on the conversation, we have the 4K Lowdown. Thank you for joining us today. If it's your first time, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. How are you tonight, sir?
Doing great. How are you, KB?
I'm doing well.
Great.
I'm glad you could join us for the spooky season.
Oh, me too. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I saw the collection and I was like, you would be perfect for this time of year.
Yes, I have the collection,
So
and I
what we're
have the
gonna
movie the
do,
collection, but that's a totally different story.
yeah, yeah, you got to have the movies.
Got to have the movie.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off with a couple of questions, and we'll get into our five takes.
All right.
Um, I always like to start off with a non-movie question. So I'm going to start off with the one I've been wanting to ask you ever since I first heard it from you, which is, please tell me about the life of a pro wrestler.
Okay. Um, well, I was a pro wrestler well, I started training in 1992 and I trained for a year, then backed out, came back to it in 99, and I was wrestler, referee, part of the production all the way up to 2003. Um, I got to tell you the life of a pro wrestler. Fortunately, I didn't get to the point that most of the wrestlers that are on TV now get to.
Yeah.
But in talking with them and working with them, it's tough. It's not a glamorous job at all, and a lot of times they are paying out of pocket for their own things like health insurance and airfare and hotels and things like that, just so they can get to a show and make barely enough money to make it back home. So it's a
Wow.
tough job, unless you're the top 1% where you're making millions of dollars a year. A lot of people are just barely scraping by. So kudos to those guys who
Wow.
are doing it.
Yeah, for sure. I, needless to say, I went looking for videos of the Family Man out there.
No, I don't think there's anything left. I saw something on YouTube a while back, and it was a match between Conan and Samoa Joe, and I was the referee. And that
Hmm.
was the last time that I saw the Family Man on video somewhere. And it was a spot where I actually got kicked in the face by Samoa Joe,
Oh.
and so I go out cold, and then of course they start hitting each other with chairs, and then I wake up right in time to get the face caught. The face is the good guy, to get the face caught with the chair, so he gets disqualified. Samoa Joe wins by
Mm-hmm.
disqualification. So yeah, that was the spot. So I actually, I found that and actually played it at my son's career day in at his high school.
That's pretty
So that was
cool.
fun.
um, One of the segments that you do weekly, like you said, you and Turner Fan 77, is the Top 10 Tuesdays.
Yes.
Um, Explain what it is. And I almost feel like I'm telling you to describe a board game. Tell me what the rules are
Well, everybody has a piece on the board. You roll no.
here.
So Top 10 Tuesday, basically what Turner Fan 77 is my co-host. He and I pick five movies each of a particular type. So we pick a theme, like say disaster movies.
Mhm.
And well, this month we're doing all types of horror movies. So that'd probably be a better example. So say we pick slasher movies, and he picks five, I pick five, and then we score them live on the show using my what's called a Lowedown format. And then we basically rank them on which gets a higher score, and then each one gets points, and then either one of us becomes the winner of the show of that
Hmm.
day. So it's kind of fun. We kind of battle it out. He picks his five, I pick my five, and we see which one's the best movie.
Who's been the overall winner between the two of you?
It was neck and neck for a while, but I think the last 4 or 5 Tuesdays, it's been me.
Hmm, very nice. Do a little promotion. Tell people where they could tune in and find it.
It's the 4K Lowdown on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Letterboxd. Our live show is on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter every Tuesday. We also do an Instagram live stream on Monday nights where we pick a theme and we just talk live, bring people on, have people in the chat, things like that. So it's a lot of fun. You guys should be able to find it that way. And we're on every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time.
Nice, nice. Anyone who's been on your Instagram has seen this. So the next question I want to ask is, what is the origin date of that spreadsheet where you keep your entire collection on?
Oh, wow. So the spreadsheet, it's got to be close to 20 years old.
Wow. Wow.
The current house that I lived in, I moved here in 2003. And that's when I really got heavy into collecting. So I needed something to catalog the movies. And I created the Excel spreadsheet from that. So I probably, maybe 2005, 2006, I probably created that spreadsheet.
Wow. I still remember I was trying to learn a database program. And this is going back probably just as long, if not longer. And the only way it would make sense to me is if I put a collection on there. And at the time, it was my CD collection.
Right.
And then I wanted to start enhancing it and doing things with it. And that's how I learned the database program. So I can see having, I guess it's an Excel spreadsheet
Yes.
and just going in, wow. And it survived through all these various formats and upgrades and everything like that.
Yes. Through many inversions of the fact, many incarnations. That's the word I wanted. To where, because it started, I think I made it in Office 97 was when I first made it. And then now it's been upgraded and upgraded and upgraded and changed. And I always have a backup copy just in case. It's been a long time, and it's huge. I gotta tell you,
Yeah.
it's a pretty big file, pretty big
Yeah.
document.
I saw the total recently, and the reason why is because it made me think of your latest collection video. And I love that. I love seeing videos of people's collections or their rooms, or even before I really got back into physical media collection, like people's home theaters, because I
Right.
was into that for a while too. And, the way some people are just, it has to be by title. Some people are like my friend does it by actor. I'm like, but what if there's actors in it's too confusing for me. Some
Yeah,
people do
that
it by
that would be
studio,
yeah,
and
yeah.
but you have some of yours by genre, I noticed.
Yes. So my first thing that I organize my collection from is by physical media. So I separate DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, and VHS is in storage. So that's not on the shelves. But after that, then it's by genre and then alphabetical.
So with that, since it is spooky season, what is your favorite horror subgenre?
Oh, paranormal. I like the ghost stories, the possession movies, things like that. So anything paranormal. That's my jam.
So that goes back even before like the found footage and the paranormal activities and all that stuff too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That
I
goes
think
way back to the beginning.
that's where I kind of fell off. But everything before that I was cool with.
Yeah.
Like a good ghost story is good to me.
Yeah.
Even the movie Ghost Story is good
Yeah.
to me. But I just can't get into the paranormal activities. I want to get into the five takes. So before we do it, I have one more question.
Okay.
Um, are we going to see the return of the 4K Lowdown Awards next year?
Yes, absolutely. And this is a little bit different because I just started doing I just started doing on YouTube as of late January.
Hmm.
And um so and I think the very first thing I did was the Lowedown Awards. And so this next year, what I'm doing, I actually have Turner Fan 77 with me, and then Alex and Nate from Geeks and Flicks.
Hmm.
They're going to join me on the panel, and we're going to do the Lowdown Awards. I believe probably mid to late January. I don't have the official date yet, but the format is for each category, each of the four of us is going to pick a movie title, and then we'll let the people in the chat vote for the award. See who gets the
Nice.
award.
I like
So
that format.
yeah, hopefully we get a good turnout so we can have some good votes come in. But we'll be able to vote too, the four of us, but we can't vote
Hmm.
for our nomination. So that'll be a little trick that I'll throw in there.
So you ready to get into the five spooky season takes?
Let's do it.
All right. So we're going to start with number one.
Okay.
Name the horror movie that made you fall in love with the genre.
That was John Carpenter's The Thing. I was 12 years old when I saw it. And it's not the first horror movie that I saw, but that was the point where I went, wow, that was amazing. I want more.
That movie comes up quite often during these conversations, whether we're talking about 80s classics or practical effects and, you know, how it can make a movie memorable versus like just imagine them trying to redo it now and having to use CGI for most of that stuff. It wouldn't hit the same. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm. And you get a taste of that in the prequel movie that they did in 2011, I believe,
Hmm.
with Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and that one had a lot more CGI than practical effects, and you could tell the difference.
You don't have those moments like you did with well, I have to say John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yes, I have to say that too. It's not you know, it has to be John Carpenter's The Thing because that's the spin that he put on it that made it what it was.
Hmm. And that's different from the original, and it's in a sense different from the prequel that came after it. So
Yeah.
definitely. All right. So let's hover around this second question here. Number two, name five of your favorite horror films.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go in reverse order for
Okay.
from 5 to 1.
Hmm.
So, my number 5 favorite movie is The Descent.
Mm.
If you're looking at the horror subgenre type, this is a mixture of monster and gore.
Yeah.
So that the viewers that haven't seen this, oh, okay, I'm interested in monster movies. This might be something that would be their take. Or if they like gory, this would be their take. But it's definitely a combination of the two. So this is one that covers both of those subgenres.
And for the purpose of those who haven't seen it, what is it about?
It's about six friends that are all female that go to this wilderness area and explore an unknown cave so that they could name it. And it's kind of one of those first discovered caves and things like that. Well, needless to say, something goes wrong. There's a cave in, they can't get out. So they're trying to get through the cave to get out, and there is something in there waiting for them.
Hmm. And I was saying before, this is one that I haven't seen in a long, long time, and I didn't have a chance to revisit it. But I do remember just, I don't know if it was the casting or just the situations that they were put in
Hmm.
that just made it memorable and just stayed with you. Even like
Mm-hmm.
credits rolling, you're done with it,
Mm-hmm.
and you're
Yeah.
still thinking about it. You know, those movies that you think about the next day or for the next week or whatever, and it
Yeah.
just stays with you. And it's not really for the gore factor, even though that's there.
Yeah.
It's just for what's the word I'm looking for? Peril.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the terror that they're experiencing. But yeah, they're in danger, not just from the monster, but from the cave itself. And they're trapped, so it's you get so many different elements. And that's kind of what I like about this movie is there's so many. I mean, there's some psychological factors involved. There are um there's twists all the way through. There's even a little found footage element in there to throw you off guard and add to the scare. So yeah, it's well, it's a lot of fun. But
Yeah, for sure. I love those movies where the location is almost like the character itself. And
exactly.
like you just mentioned it, the cave is a character itself.
Hmm.
That's a good one. What's your next one?
Okay. My number four is a classic. Everybody knows its name. It's A Nightmare on Elm Street. And this is the original one from 1984. And this is the major true horror movie that Freddy Krueger pilots. I'm just gonna say.
Hmm.
And again, you get a couple different varieties. You get a slasher movie and you get paranormal.
Yeah. I had Mika and Kira on recently, and they were talking about that, the greatness behind that film is invading the one place where we should all feel safe. And man, this is why this is my favorite franchise.
Yeah,
It's October, everybody's about Michael Myers, and you got your Jason and Yellow Leatherface and all that. Give me Freddy Krueger every time, man. There's
yeah.
there's something about him, and yes, in the later films, he becomes a caricature of himself based on the popularity of
Hmm.
the movies and him in real life. It's
Right.
almost like the little jokey quips became kind of like the punchline. But give it up for the original. The movie that saved New Line, or they call it the house that Freddy built.
Yeah. So you take the Mount Rushmore of horror icons. You have Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, Jason, and Leatherface. And Freddy Krueger stands alone in what
Yep,
he does compared to what those other guys do.
yep,
My number three, and I'm gonna throw this up. This is the original Saw.
yeah.
The original Saw is just a beautiful story.
It is.
Along
It
with it
really
is
is.
really good. And after that, it became all about how gory can we get, and we need the variety of the traps, and then a twist at the end. That was all they did in the sequels. I mean, I love the franchise, don't get me wrong,
Hmm.
but the original Saw takes the taco on my favorite of the group.
Yeah, it almost became formulaic based on the things that made the first one great. And I think, not getting into it, but the second story that comes almost in the middle was so successful as kind of like a departure from the main story
Yes.
that became the basis. And the twist, like you mentioned, that became the basis of what we're going to do in all the subsequent sequels. And I really wish they didn't do it that way, because the brilliance of the first one is you have this main story, and just to give it a jolt, you have a backstory or a side story. And then, like you said, you have a different perspective than what you started out with. So
Hmm.
there's so many great aspects to that movie. I only have the original because the other ones I catch on, streaming and so forth. And that's the only one I want to sit down. I want to sit down and watch it beginning to end. And, great special features too, just going into James Wan and everything that he did to create the franchise and the character and so forth.
Absolutely.
So the next one is one that you already started talking about, so
Did already talk
might
about it.
as
So
well
this is, yeah.
continue.
Okay. So yeah, this is my number two all time. And we talked about this. This is what the movie that had me fall in love with the horror genre, and it is John Carpenter's The Thing. The practical effects in here are amazing and still hold up to this day. I still watch this movie and get chills. The synopsis of this movie is basically this is about you know uh, a man stationed in Antarctica, and a creature is in the area, starts basically killing the people, and let's just say it can take on multiple forms. So you don't know which one is the monster and which one's a human. as you go through the movie, even up to the end, which is amazing. So the way that they did this, how it was thought out by John Carpenter and brilliantly acted by Kurt Russell, everybody involved, and the practical effects, like I said, really make this movie. So go watch it if you haven't. Do it right now.
Right after you're done with this video. And if
Yep,
you've seen it before, watch it again.
put it in again. It's October. This is the month to go and get a refresh on that.
Oh yeah. The the horror in this movie to me is even more than the entity itself.
Mhm.
It's also the horror of trust or lack thereof.
Right.
Because they're they're basically in this station, as you mentioned, and they rely on each other to do what they need to do in their daily tasks. And now you have this new addition, and it calls into that trust, and it makes them, I don't know, question everybody and question the trust that they already had established for who knows how long. So it's almost like you can't trust the person next to you for one reason or another. That's horrific. That is truly
Mhm.
horrific.
Yeah. And again, you're trapped.
Hmm.
So you're in Antarctica. You can't get out. And you have no idea who you can trust and who you can't trust. And yeah, you said it again. It's that's an element of fear that really sneaks up on you when you're watching the movie. You can almost white knuckle it when you're watching it going, okay, is that is that the bad guy, or is that, can you trust this guy? Um, really good and really well thought out all the way through.
Yeah. And your fifth, which is your number one.
So yeah, my number one of all time is the original Exorcist, 1973. Ellen Burstyn, Linda Blair, the one horror movie that has won multiple Oscars, was nominated for Best Picture. Just just a great movie. Now this movie, it came out in 73 and I was 3 years old. So I didn't see it. The first time I saw it was 76. So I saw it at 6 years old. It was the second horror movie that I've seen in the theater. First was Jaws. And I remember this this movie in particular stuck in my memory because of the fear element and what they did with the paranormal. I'd never seen anything like that. Didn't even
Nope.
didn't even heard of it. Okay, killer shark, I get it. I didn't learn how to swim until I was 10 because of that darn shark, but this one just it brought in a fear of the unknown
Mm.
that I didn't shake for a long time.
Yeah.
But then
I,
after John Carpenter's The Thing, I came back and I watched
yeah.
this again, and newfound appreciation for it because it
I was
didn't
gonna
just scare the
ask
crap out
you.
of me.
I was gonna ask you what age you saw it at. So wow, six. My
Yeah.
daughter said it earlier today. She said Gen X and their parents let them see things way too young because we were talking about, you know, I recently had Dell from Dell on movies, and he was talking about seeing Blackula at an early age, or seeing this movie or that movie. And I was like, yeah, I think my parents let me watch anything I wanted to. If it was on TV, it was safe. No,
Yeah.
no,
No, that doesn't. Yeah, that doesn't track because I saw the fog on TV when I was 10, and that
yeah,
was
right,
that was frightening.
yeah.
Um, but but yeah, no, I walked in the theater with my mom and stepdad and watched this. Nobody batted an eyelash, and
Hmm.
it's something that's not even thought of in this age.
I still, if I see someone, like if I go to a con or something, I see someone dressed as Reagan, I still kind of do a little,
Do a little, yeah,
a little
I do a
shake.
little sidestep.
Yeah. If I'm looking up something on Google and that image comes up, I'm so, it still shakes me to my core a little bit. And like I was saying before we came online, you know, I can't tell you how many times I watched it in college because it was kind of like the party thing to do. Hey,
Mhm.
everybody's hanging out and it's winding down. Let's watch The Exorcist. Who's never seen it? You've never seen it? Great, let's watch it and watch you
Yeah.
get scared
And that's the
scared you
reason
will live
why
and
you
die.
watch it again is so you can get
Mm-hmm.
that person, oh, I've got to see your face when you watch this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was much later when I played this movie for my kids,
Hmm.
but it was, they kept asking me what my favorite horror movie was, and I would tell them, and oh, we want to see that. I'm like, no, you're 8 or 9. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Daddy's going to pick a date where you're going to
Yeah.
be able to watch that movie. And
Let's hit
I
double
wait.
digits first.
Exactly. We're getting to the teenage years, and okay, now we'll watch this movie. I'm sitting with you to watch it, and I will, talk it through with you and explain it if you have questions.
Yeah.
Um,
How many copies do you have of The Exorcist?
oh wow, that is a very good question. I I am still waiting for the 4K,
Hmm.
but I have I have five. So I have the VHS, I have the regular DVD and the special edition DVD, and then I have the Blu-ray director's cut and then the steelbook.
Yeah. I saw that rumor that the Disc Father put out that they're going to do the 50th anniversary. The cover art that they chose was kind of ooh, a little dark. You just saw Reagan's eyes,
Yeah,
but
I'm okay
if
with that.
that
I
is the case,
Yeah.
that'd be
Uh,
cool.
oh yeah, I'm in. But yeah, I do like the standard with the priest standing outside. That's what the poster looks like too, which I'm looking into getting that.
The poster of it,
Hmm.
yeah,
I have movie posters that I collect also around the
yeah.
house.
All right, let's continue on with the questions.
Okay.
Just to finish this out. So we're going to continue to number three. Name a classic horror movie that everybody loves, but you can't stand.
I love zombie movies. I'm a
Hmm.
huge zombie movie fan. I probably have 150 to 200 zombie movies in my collection. But there's one that I don't have because I'm not a fan of it. And that is the original Night of the Living Dead.
Really?
Yeah. And I feel bad, George Romero, I'm sorry. It's because I love all the rest of them, but Night of the Living Dead, I just can't get my head around to where I can enjoy that movie. Partly maybe because it's in black and white, and I'm not a big fan of black and white movies,
Hmm.
but I don't know. It's just the whole thing. It's really slow. It drags for me. So when Criterion's coming out with the 4K, nope, I'm not going to get that. So that's
Yeah.
one zombie movie that everybody talks about that's supposed to it's a classic movie, and I did not like it.
Wow. Okay. I mean, that's not a hot take or anything like that, but I wasn't expecting that one because I saw the zombie collection and like you said, it's quite vast.
Hmm.
So wow, I was not expecting that, but now that I think about it, I didn't see it there. I didn't see even the Criterion Blu-rays though.
Nope. No
Wow.
Criterion, no nothing. So yeah, I don't have it.
We don't yuck other people's yums, but we get that. Let's move on. Let's flip that. So name a critically hated horror movie that you love.
Okay. So yeah, I took a little research because I generally don't look at things like Rotten Tomatoes and
Me neither.
those types of things because I do my own reviews. So I'd rather just see a movie for myself and judge whether I like it or not. And like Night of the Living Dead, you know, I don't agree with Rotten Tomatoes, and I didn't agree with them on this. So the one I picked is House on Haunted Hill. I
Okay.
absolutely love this movie, and it got a 31% on Rotten Tomatoes, which surprises me. It's got a great cast. You get paranormal, you get a little psychological, you get a little gore, you get a little comedy. I think it's a great all-around horror movie, and one that I'm happy to have in my collection.
That surprised me. I didn't know it was, I don't want to say that hated, but I didn't know that people disliked it that much. I mean, it was a cool movie.
Yeah.
I didn't know that people, well, at least critically, hated that movie. Wow, that's surprising. Huh. I learned something new today.
Well, good. I'm happy to help. Just another tip from your Uncle Dave.
There you go. Thank you. You can't be my uncle. Maybe someone else is.
No, distant second cousin, maybe. We can do that.
There you go. Play cousins. Play cousins.
Yeah. Oh, there it
So
is.
that's the
House on Haunted
version
Hill.
you have?
Yeah.
Nice. I like that. And to land this plane, number five, who would you like to see me have a conversation with on this channel?
Oh, well that's easy. That would have to be Turner Fan 77.
Hmm.
Um, it's weird. We just barely got to know each other. And I had him on my show first. I do this show called The High Five, which I have someone come on the show and pick five of their favorite movies, and I have them score them live on the show. And then we rank them based on their score. So he was my first guest. And then instant friends after that. So now
Cool.
we co-host stuff. We work on stuff together. We're always talking about things. We're looking at each other's Voodoo accounts to check out movies that we may not have seen. It's really cool. He's even got a show coming up called Comic Talk where he talks about comic books, and he's going to have me
Mhm.
co-host with him on that. So I think that would be a great guest to have on.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. I had a blast.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like I said before, the time goes by so quickly. So I definitely want to thank you for your time. This was fun to do. You're a good person for the spooky season, and your takes, like I said, not that hot, but very, very insightful.
Well, thanks, KB. I really appreciate being on here, and I'm looking forward to having you on my show, The High Five, in the near
I'm
future.
looking forward to that too. So
That'll be
we
great.
definitely need to make that happen. But until then, once again, thank you again, Dave.
My pleasure.